Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, kaya sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa dagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tula, kawit sa pagkayang minamahal. Atawag mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, makituwin at araw niya kailan pa may magtitingin. Lumalang araw ng warhabit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na partay mga amin, at mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning. In this series, we are going to tackle cybersecurity. The pandemic has brought growing dependencies on technology, including the inescapability to the use of the internet, making every one of us susceptible to cyber attack. In partnership with Smart Communications, the Office of Students' Welfare and Development brings you talks on internet safety, video conferencing safety, and how to spot fake news. We will be joined today by Ms. Rorin Marie Chin, the Chief of the Public Information and Assistance Division of the National Privacy Commission, Mr. Eli Mendoza, Corporate Communications and Digital Publicity Team Manager of Smart Communications Incorporated, and Mr. J.B. Divesa, the Safety Officer of the National Union of Journalists in the Philippines. Our heartfelt appreciations to Smart Communications for this collaboration. Making cyberspace safe is everybody's concern. We invite you to join us and make your family and community CYBERSMART. I'm Bonch. Let's watch this.
Hi, my name is Lauren Marie M. Jean, and I am from the National Privacy Commission. Right now, we will be talking about internet safety. So the National Privacy Commission has a specific project intended to introduce and educate individuals as well as children for internet safety. Now that we are facing a pandemic, everything shifted online. Classes are online, meetings are online, seminars like this are online. At syempre, meron din tayong social media. Everyone has social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. At ano ba ang mga nilalagay natin sa mga social media na ito? Our personal information. Ano yung mga common na personal information? Your photos, your name, even your location. So nag-drawing ka ng crush mo. Of course, you post it on Instagram. Nagpa-cute yung pusa mo. There's no way that you will not post that in Instagram. At nagluto ka. Siyempre, popost mo rin sa Instagram. #adult101. Internet is a great platform to showcase an individual's creativity and self-expression. It is a platform that strengthens social awareness and empathy. And for some people, it's a way to communicate to other individuals, especially to friends and families. So the question is, how safe is the internet? How safe are you when you are online? How safe is your personal information? So let's take a look at the other side of the internet. Kung makikita ninyo, there are so many cases of online harassment, discrimination, and exploitation being done because of improper disclosure of personal information over the internet. Dito lang sa Pilipinas, umaakyat na ang online sexual harassment ng mga cases. Sa Scotland, marami na rin ang mga rape cases due to dating apps. And there was a case of a 17-year-old girl na nakidnap by a pedophile she met online. So ang ginawa ng ating mga privacy advocates ay gumawa sila ng isang avatar na kamukha ng isang batang Pilipina na edad 10 taong gulang para mahuli ang mga online pedophiles na nambibiktima ng mga bata for pornography. So how to ensure that your children and you are safe online? So we have here in the National Privacy Commission ways to love yourself online. So number 1, create strong passwords. Make sure na pag pumipili kayo ng passwords, talagang ipaglalaban ka sa mga hackers. Strong passwords are at least 12 characters long and contain a combination of upper and lower letters, numbers, and if possible, symbols. Number 2, never use the same password on multiple accounts. Huwag masyadong maging loyal sa isang password para mo na rin sinuko lahat agad-agad. Having different passwords on multiple accounts make it harder for hackers to guess them. Number 3, lock your devices. Di ba kapag mahal mo, aalagaan mo? Leaving a laptop or cell phone unlocked is like leaving an open purse, which hackers are more than happy to take advantage of. Number 4, always log out of browsers. Matuto ng malinis na pamamaalam, lalo na kung hindi naman talaga sa'yo ang laptop. Google Chrome has a unified login system which logs you into browsers even if you only log in through an email. So don't forget to log out, or better yet, use incognito mode. Number 5, never give your personal information. This means you should not share your last name, home address, school name, or telephone number. Kahit marupok, huwag basta-bastang magpauto. Huwag basta-bastang magbigay ng personal na impormasyon, lalo na sa hindi kakilala. Number 6, do not log in your personal account on free or public Wi-Fi. Hindi lahat ng libre at willing magpagamit ay dapat gamitin. Open networks make it very easy for people to peek into your activity and accounts. And the people you share the network with may also be using compromised devices. Number 7, be careful when making a screen name. Siguruhin na pag ikaw ay gumawa ng screen name para sa mga online games, hindi kasama ang iyong tunay na pangalan, address, or birth date. Number 8, don't click on pop-ups or virus warnings. Kahit marupok, huwag basta-basta magpauto. These warnings are now called scareware, which are fake security alerts telling you to click a link to download a software to remove the virus in your computer. The links, however, contain viruses. Number 9, unfriend Facebook friends you do not know personally. Kung ang ex mo nga, ang bilis mong i-unfriend, lalo na dapat i-unfriend ang mga bogus accounts. With too many people's names, birth dates, education, and work history available online, bogus accounts can easily duplicate a person you may know or want to be friends with. These bogus accounts target you for identity theft, malicious links, or spam attacks. Number 10, don't be too public. Sa panahon ngayon, mahirap nang ibigay ang lahat-lahat. While sharing details about your life can be fun and exciting, there are just some things you should never, and we mean ever, share on social media. Things like your home address, vacation details, ticket numbers, and the layout of your house should always be kept private. Number 11, be wary of phishing scams. Sa panahon ngayon, mahirap na talaga makahanap ng taong pwedeng i-trust. Phishing criminals typically send emails to thousands of people pretending to come from banks, credit card companies, online shops, and auction sites to trick you into going to fake site and entering your personal account. Number 12, make sure to pass this on. Help your loved ones love themselves. Show your love to your friends and family by introducing them to good personal data privacy practices to keep them safe off and online. That's all for the ways to love yourself online. And this is Kabataang Digital from the National Privacy Commission. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of the CyberSmart Online Caravan. And I will be discussing online video conferencing safety. Now, all of us, well, most of us at least, are now very familiar with video conferencing tools such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams, perhaps even Skype, and maybe even Facebook Messenger. Now, the reason that there is a growing call to practice cybersecurity measures in these applications is that a lot of risks are now surfacing because the more people you have in the platform, the greater the risk. So in this segment, we will tackle these risks and as well as how you can protect yourselves from any danger online. Okay, now why should you practice video conferencing safety? In a nutshell, it's one of the many ways that you share your information to the outside world. Quite literally, it is an invitation to your physical and virtual space. You are inviting people to look at you live and in real time, and you are exposing not just what can be seen on your background or on yourself, but also when you share your screens, you will also be exposing your virtual space. So it is very important that we know how to behave and how to handle online video conferences. Now, there are two types of video conference participants in video conferences, and that is one, you are the admin, or either two, you are the participant. So let's jump right into the first part. Oh, but before that, the first rules of video conferencing safety. First rule number 1 is to use the latest version of the software that you're going to use. So always update. As much as possible before starting or scheduling any video conference, check in the Play Store or in the Apple App Store if you're running the latest version, or maybe in the Microsoft Store for your Windows machines. And just go on ahead and make it a habit to update these software. And if it's possible, go for the licensed versions, because you more often than not, licensed versions or the paid versions are the first ones to get the latest features and, of course, the latest security patches. And second rule number 1 is make sure you are using a secure connection. So we have two rules number 1, and that is because they are equally important. Make sure that when you're connecting to a Wi-Fi hotspot, make sure that you know who owns that Wi-Fi hotspot. Don't just connect to it because it's freely accessible in a public area. And even at home, make sure that it's secure. Just make sure that nobody has hacked into it. And if you have one, use a VPN service. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So what it does is basically, instead of having the traffic from your video conferencing app directly routed to your device, it jumps around several areas, several servers. So it is more difficult to track your exact whereabouts. Okay, now let's jump right into it. If you are an admin for a video conference, you have to be aware and take charge. Always remember that this is your show. It's sort of like taking the lead when it comes to organizing an actual meeting. You have to keep everyone in check and to make sure that everything is in order. The pens and papers are there, the whiteboard, the projector. So everything has to be clearly set. So the same attitude applies for online video conferencing. So one of the first things that you have to remember is that keep your video conference private. Don't share links on social media. So we have a habit of just we have a tendency to just blast out the URL or the meeting code on Facebook. You have to try to avoid that because it's not wise. Even if your meeting is no longer running, people can look back at that post that you made, and then they'll just extract the URL, click on it, and then they can pretend, or they can post that there's this meeting going on about a particular topic. Worse, if it's something about a top secret project or something for work. This is something that people can easily hijack and exploit you for being careless. So to avoid that, make sure you use a password or a private meeting ID that only the intended audience will be informed of. So don't leave your passwords floating around somewhere in the cloud, or else it may fall into the wrong hands. Next, you have to use the waiting room feature. So if you're familiar with how you use Zoom, even if people have the link and the password, they still have to go through a sort of a holding room where they can wait for the host or the meeting creator to let them inside the video conference. So this adds an extra layer of protection to your meeting. And as an admin, you should turn off the join before host, because as mentioned earlier, there is a risk of anybody just hijacking your presentation, posing around as somebody who made the video conference. So if somebody goes in and goes ahead of everybody inside a particular meeting room, they can say, "Hey, I made this conference, and therefore I am the authority here." So make sure that if you're creating a video conference, you turn off that feature. And another one is do not use video, audio, and screen sharing on by default. This gives people the chance to clean up their backgrounds, their whereabouts, just to make sure nothing confidential is being shown on camera. Now, once everyone is in, the first thing that admins or the moderator should do is conduct a video roll call. This is just to make sure that every participant and every device is accounted for in the meeting, and there's no hidden lurker, an unintended lurker within the ranks. And this is a good practice for everyone, whether it's for work or for school. Next, ask for permission to record meetings. Recording is a very intimate form of note-taking, so to speak, because it captures not only the topic of the conversation, but also the facial gestures and the audio of every participant. So if somebody reacts a certain way to a certain topic, like for example, yawning or eye roll on somebody who is talking, that will get recorded. So best to inform everyone beforehand before you click on the record button. And another tip, as an admin, you should always keep an eye on the chat box. It can be an overlooked part of the video conference that you can do side chats, so people can post anything they want. So as an admin, keep an eye on it. Maybe they're posting something that shouldn't be posted, something confidential, something lewd perhaps. So be prepared to moderate the chat box as well. Next, you should mute and eject as necessary. If somebody is out of line, remember, it's your meeting, you organized it, and don't be afraid of just enforcing the rules as necessary. Next, if you're a participant, okay, now these are very basic rules, but they can be overlooked most of the time. Number one, blur or use a safe background. So right now, as you can see, I am using a very safe background by my standards. All it does is reveal really what my number one hobby is, and that is collecting a few trinkets from my favorite movie. But if you're not careful, you could be displaying intimate details about yourself, something that people can use to hack your personal accounts. Or for example, if you have a photo of your pet right here near the camera, and it contains the name of your pet. Remember that a lot of security questions for email addresses includes the name of your first pet. So if people can see that, and they know your full name and your email address, you're already one step closer to being hacked. So make sure that everything that's displayed on the camera, they're nothing confidential. And if you're not sure, just blur it all. Blur it, or just change the background. You know, there's a feature that you can use on Zoom and in Microsoft Teams that allows you to change the background. You could be in some office or at the beach if you want. Next, don't use your camera if it's not necessary. This is something that should come as common sense. If you're just somebody who listens in, might as well turn it off, because it will also save you in bandwidth. So if ever your internet connection does drop, at least you will save a few megabits for your audio, so the audio stream doesn't get cut. Related to the camera, don't use 4K or super high resolution cameras if it is not necessary. Again, if you have a super high resolution camera, people can read the little details in your background. So if you have your business card such as this one, so you can see if it's a super clear camera, of course you can read the name. But if you use a slightly blurry one, and if it's not really, if a super resolution video isn't crucial to the video conference, it's fine. You can use the built-in camera on your laptop or your smartphone. Another thing to know is that you should know the mute and camera off shortcuts of your particular app. There are some that use the spacebar to mute yourself. Just always be conscious when you have to mute yourself and when you have to turn the video on and off. So you wouldn't want people hearing embarrassing noises from around your house, and especially if it's somewhat of a giveaway of your exact location. For example, you say you're video conferencing somewhere in the province, and then people can hear that there's a noisy background, there's jeepneys and buses. Then you're already giving away your location. Next, you should have a good microphone with noise cancellation, because there are some words that can be misconstrued, especially if you don't have your camera on. Like for example, what I'm using right now is I have the headset microphone right here near my jacket. So it gives me better audio, and of course, this increases the chances of communicating better with other people, especially online. So something like you're gonna say to your boss, "Boss, we suck," but you were gonna say "succeeded," and then you're gonna find yourself in deep trouble if you just said "we suck." And be wary of your desktop. Of course, from time to time you are going to be asked to uh, to share your screen with the participants, and when you do, you better keep a clean desktop. No confidential information, especially if you're handling budgets. You don't want to reveal that, hey, the 2021 budget is ready now, and people will ask you for more money for whatever project it is that you are handling. Well, that's basically it. I hope that you learned a thing or two. Later on, we can entertain questions, and stay safe and stay smart out there.
Hello, my name is JB Devesa. I'm a journalist and has been one since 1994. I'm also a member of NUJP, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines. It is an organization of journalists and media workers around the country. Like other media organizations, we campaign against misinformation and we fight also fake news. You could say fighting fake news has been an uphill battle. This fight, I'm glad more and more people are joining the fight, like Smart PLDT, because fighting fake news is a fight that we all must take part in if we are to move forward as a community and as a nation. But what is fake news? What is news? News is newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events. It may be about distance learning and how public school students are coping with this method of education. It can be about the latest development in show business, like the love team of Catherine Bernardo and Daniel Padilla. It can be about sports. In other words, news can be about anything that affect our lives for good or for bad. Showbiz, sports, politics, peace and order. All these are news and we consume these every day, whether through social media, radio, TV, or newspapers. Fake news or disinformation, on the other hand, is factually incorrect information made to resemble news. Fake news is used to spread rumors, create tension and distrust, disrupt the political process, control public opinion. This information is spread by parties who want to strengthen their position, weaken the position of their adversaries, or both. Although relatively recent term, this information has been with us for a long time. In fact, in much of the last century, it was used as a tool for warfare. With social media came a perfect solution to spread this information. Because fake news are usually catchy and outrageous, and because lies generally are more interesting than the truth, disinformation or fake news can spread easily. After fake news has been spread, this enters the public consciousness. Once this happens, fake news can be very hard to refute. It can even be used as a source material, even if the information is so patently false. So who falls for fake news? Well, we all do. We all do. At some point, even reputable news organizations and journalists fall for fake news. No? But this doesn't mean that the information on the internet is no longer trustworthy. It does mean, however, and this is crucial, that all of us need to be able to discern which are true and which are falsehoods, which are news and which are fake news. In order to prevent the spread of fake news, here is a quick guide to spotting it. Number one, read past the headline. One way that fake news gets amplified is that busy readers may not look past the headline or the opening paragraph before they decide to share the article. Fake news publishers sometimes exploit this tendency, writing the beginning of the story in a straightforward manner before filling in the rest with obviously false information. In other cases, clicking through the article will reveal the story really has no backup. It really provides nothing in terms of sources. Number two, check what news outlet published it. Unfamiliar websites plastered with ads and all caps headlines should draw immediate skepticism. It's very simple to just Google the site's name and check out the other articles that it posts. So that will help determine if the site is trustworthy or not. Many fake news sites will outright say also that they are satire and that they don't contain factual information. But you have to be very discerning when you see this. So number three, check the published date and time. Another common element in fake news is that old articles or events can resurface and lead people to believe they just happened. Checking the published timestamp is something that readers can quickly do to prevent being misled. Sometimes, however, finding out when an event happened can take a bit more work, such as when the date of an article is current, but the events described are old. Click through links and read carefully to determine when the event described actually happened. Number four, who is the author? Looking at who wrote the article can reveal a lot of information about the news source. Searching through the author's previous article can show whether they are a legitimate journalist or have a history of spreading falsehoods. Number five, look at what links and sources are used. A lack of links or sources for claims in an article is obviously a warning sign that the post is likely false. Fake sites may also provide numerous links to sites that appear to back up their claims but are themselves spreading misinformation. Check to see if the claims are supported by links and if the sources are from reliable sources. Number six, look out for questionable quotes and photos, and now even videos. It's incredibly easy for fake news writers to invent false quotes, even attributing them to major public figures. Be skeptical of shocking or suspicious quotes and search to see if they have been reported elsewhere. Likewise, it is easy to take a photo from one event and say it's from another. Images can be altered for a certain story. What you have to do is to use a reverse image either through Google or through tools like TinEye to help you find where the image originated. Number seven, beware of confirmation bias. People are often drawn to stories that enforce the way we see the world and how we feel about certain issues. Fake news is no exception, and many of the articles that fall under its umbrella are designed to stir up those emotions in the readers and prey on their biases. It is important to check that the news are based on fact rather than sharing them because they support one side of an argument or bolster pre-existing political beliefs. Number 8, search if other news outlets are reporting it. If a story looks suspicious or claims to reveal major news Search to see if other news outlets are also reporting the story. A single article from a suspicious source making a grand claim should be viewed with heavy skepticism. If no reliable news organizations are also reporting the story, then it is most likely fake. Lastly, number 9, think before you share. Fake news sites rely on readers to share and engage with their articles in order for them to spread. In extreme cases, these fake articles can balloon out of control and have unintended consequences for those involved in the stories. Before ending this, I would like to share with you a short video about the tips and about how to spot fake news.
There's always been fake news, rumors, hoaxes, propaganda. But now, the world runs faster than ever, and communication is easier than ever. Anyone with a smartphone and Twitter account can shout their message to the world. But how does misinformation spread? Who shares these messages? How do you track false information as it ricochets throughout a social network? Indiana University data scientists, led by Filippo Menzer, are building tools to answer these questions. They are the creators of the Observatory on Social Media, or AWESOME, which houses tools such as Hoaxy that lets anyone trace the path of a rumor or hashtag as it spreads on Twitter. Another awesome tool, Botometer, lets you see if your new friend is a fake, a bot, or real. Using what they had learned on real social networks, the researchers then created their own simulated social network where they could control the flow of information. It's a bit like how meteorologists predict the weather. Rather than testing how winds or temperatures affect weather patterns, they tested different user ratios and information types. Fill up your simulated social network with a small amount of true and false information, and your simulated users will share the truth. Mostly. But load up that system with noise, and your simulated social media users get stressed out. They start to share information indiscriminately, so false information can go viral as well. That's especially true if you've got a bunch of loud-mouthed bots, which are automated accounts not run by people, drowning out everyone else. The lesson? Information overload makes you share junk. So what can you do? Think before you click. Read the story, not the headline. If it sounds unbelievable, Google it. And don't just follow people who already agree with you. Also, share this video, honestly.
So thank you for listening. If you need more resources to fight fake news, you can go to these websites: factcheck.org, TinEye reverse image search, VeraFiles fact check, and remember, think before you share, and when in doubt, don't. Thank you.